Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming Pioneer $2,000 Open AIQ RCQ. We're in the finals. Ross, give us a little rundown of what's happening.
Well, we've got two Rakdos decks here in the finals. Josh Milliken on Rakdos Sacrifice, Dylan Ham on the classic Rakdos Midrange. But the real story here is that Josh Milliken is not on a stock list of the Rakdos Sacrifice deck.
Yeah, bunch of big changes.
0 copies of Fable of the Mirror Breaker, 0 copies of Blood Tithe Harvester. So going, with a lot of different threats. He has more copies of Village Rights in the deck, 2 copies of Ob Nixilis Corrupt Kingpin, something like that.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Captive Kingpin. He's locked down because he lost his Spark.
Yeah, that makes sense. So a very different build of the deck. Does have a little bit more card advantage, which can help in this matchup, but loses the value of Fable, which is a really powerful threat. Doesn't have as much pressure, so he's not going to be able to close games quickly unless one of his really powerful threats goes unanswered. That's 2 Croxes in the main to go along with those Ob Nichilises as well. So has some powerful cards to replace the Fables. Also has 2 copies of Liliana of the Veil.
Sure.
That could end up being really good if you're able to land early. Edict on a Graveyard Trespasser, start plussing against the Rakdos deck, make them discard a bunch of removal, and then Crox it from the graveyard. That could be a really good plan. So I can see avenues for Milliken to be ahead in this matchup. It's normally a matchup that favors Rakdos Sacrifice because of that card advantage, but with his build being so different, I'm not really comfortable calling it.
Well, he is facing off against one of the best players on the Apex series in Dylan Ham, playing stock Rakdos, one of the best decks in the Pioneer format. They are seated and ready to go, so let's head on down for the finals of the Pioneer $2,000 Open as we see who's on the play. Do you know who's on the play?
Milliken's the 8 seed, so Dylan.
Okay, so Dylan Ham gets to be on the play as well. I actually think that's maybe a detriment in the Thoughtseize matchups. With everyone having Thoughtseize and Fatal Push, I feel like just the extra card's fine. And I've chosen to draw in some of those spots in weird matchups, and people just look at me like I'm stupid. But who's got the chips? It's Dylan probably, but
yeah. The Rakdos midrange deck can get surprisingly aggressive, so I'd be a little wary of doing that and falling behind.
Oh yeah,
if I have an awkward draw.
I don't recommend it for the light of heart or whatever.
Yeah. The faint of heart.
Faint of heart. Just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Winner here will be punching their ticket to the regional championship. Both of these players, though, have already qualified for the Apex Invitational coming up in this November. That is a $20,000 invite-only tournament. Go to apexgaming.gg to see participating stores, see if you can make it out to one, and maybe see us there, because Todd and I will be commenting.
Yeah. All right, we are underway here for the finals. Dylan Ham leads with a tap Blood Crypt. Josh Milliken going to answer back with a Witch's Oven. Turn 2 for Dylan, going to lead off with Blood Tithe Harvester, the premier 2-drop for the Rakdos colors, but one that Josh Milliken said, I don't want in my deck. I want to play Village Rights.
Yeah, normally you see 1 Village Rights in these Rakdos deck lists sometimes, but Milliken actually going up to 2 copies alongside the 4 Deadly Dispute. Also has a Go for the Throw in the main, so a little more removal. Yeah, really sort of between Rakdos Sacrifice and Rakdos Midrange.
All right, well, a big turn from Milliken goes for Claim the Firstborn on your graveyard or your Blood Tithe Harvester, attack you for 3, turn it into a food with the Witch's Oven, just toss it into the fire, and follows it up with an Unlucky Witness. But Dylan Ham fires back with the powerful 3-drop Graveyard Trespasser, and now Milliken needs an answer. Does he have Liliana of the Veil?
No, I'm looking at the hand. I see Mayhem Devil, Deadly Dispute, and a couple lands. And there's a pathway drawn for turn. So probably just going to see a Deadly Dispute on the Unlucky Witness, but that'll probably be after blocks here.
Well, maybe you want to main phase it so that you don't let the creature flip, but I don't know if that's more or less important than the block.
Okay, we're just going to Deadly Dispute the
food token. Smart. Okay, so now we get a treasure. We get to draw 2. If we find Fatal Push, we can clear. Mayhem Devil, Village Rights are the draw, so we can go block Village Rights.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yep. All right. Gonna head back Dylan Ham's way. Does he have more threats? Needs to keep up the pressure. The block of the Witness and maybe a Cauldron Familiar is going to stifle the aggression from the Graveyard Trespasser.
I think I see a Shieldred in Dylan Ham's hand, and he's going to get punished for not playing it pre-combat. A little bit of an awkward scenario, against Village Rights in particular.
Okay, good call on that.
Could have potentially dealt 4 damage this turn.
So we're going to flip off 2, and then we're going to draw 2 cards. So land drop locked up for next turn, and then 2 fresh cards, Witness and another Deadly Dispute. And here's the post-combat, the Shame Dread.
Yeah, you would have either dealt 4 damage from the 2 Shielded triggers or Graveyard Trespasser dealing 3 in combat and exiling the Unlucky Witness. So 4 damage either way. Missed there from Dillingham on, certainly not a punt, but that's just a, I'm not aware of Village Rites because it's not a very common card in these decks.
Right.
So that's Milliken getting paid off for his unique card choices.
All right, so here is Takenuma as land number 4. We'll see if Milliken wants to deploy a 4-drop in Obnixila's Captive Kingpin or wants to go Mayhem Devil plus Unlucky Witness. A lot of options here, but none of them look that good in the face of Trespasser Shieldred.
Yeah, Milliken has just drawn a bunch of threats here with all that card draw in the last couple turns and really just needed to find removal. A Fatal Push plus Liliana here would be awesome.
Yeah, and all those extra cards, you would have thought, oh, maybe I'll find one, but here it looks like we're going to lead off with the Witness. I wonder if our plan is going to be to sacrifice it, but no, we're going to go Mayhem Devil and probably pass the turn here. Back Dillingham's way, gets untapped, draw 2, gain 2 from Shieldred. Dillingham not one to miss too many of these Shieldred triggers. Here comes land number 5. It's a pathway. And we'll see how big of an attack we can do, how much we can clear out. Starts with the blood, maybe a weak hand. I see a Fatal Push. This is going to turn on Revolt at least.
And also going to trigger the Mayhem Devil. It's any player sacrificing a permanent.
Okay, so we take 1, gain 1.
Does that go for the throat?
I saw Fatal Push. I don't know what the other cards. It might be Power Word Kill or go for the throat if it looks like a blackened one. All right, there's Fatal Push for the Mayhem Devil.
Okay, so we'll probably sack this to the Witch's Oven and deal another point. Really nothing going in Milliken's hand, and Shieldred plus Graveyard Trespasser is a huge clock.
Yep. All right, Mayhem Devil is the most important card for the Rakdos sack deck, so dealing with it without much damage here to face or to board. Definitely where you want to be is Dillingham. And now we're going to rumble in the red zone. This is a big attack for 7 and a drain for 1 from the attack, so 8 points total come to cross. We'll see if Milliken wants to chump block and get a flip off of the Unlucky Witness, and yes, he does.
Definitely jump in the Shieldred here, so we'll dig 2 more cards deep into the deck, trying to find some answers to these powerful threats from the Rakdos midrange deck.
Yep.
And doesn't find them.
Nope, another Witch's Oven. Something like Cauldron Familiar off the top could be okay to stabilize against all this aggression, but the Obnixila's Captive Kingpin is not it in this type of a matchup. It's just a huge red target, and Josh Milliken has drawn both of them.
Card for turn is now a mountain, so still nothing going.
All right, Witch's Oven number 2. Here comes a big 4/3 flyer that looks really bad in the face of spot removal.
Okay. Oh, best case scenario, it trades with a Graveyard Trespasser that's already attacked you a bunch.
Yep. That's like a forced play at the very best, right? So, going back Dillingham's way. Draw for turn. Got Bone Crusher Giant to stomp if we want. Hive of the Eye Tyrants to draw. Even more pressure for next turn. And we have an attack for 7 with a forced block incoming.
So this is not lethal because of the food on the other side, but even if you chump block the Shieldred, at the stomp upstairs along with the Shieldred trigger,
should be enough, right? Because it puts you to 4. Okay.
But the food token can.
Well, we're going to.
It goes to 3 now after trading the Trespasser. Stomp you. You go to 1. Play Bone Crusher.
Okay. And now shoulder trigger. Is threatening lethal, so we must gain 3 life on the upkeep, or else we're dead.
You could do it with the trigger on the stack.
Okay. Mr. Timing over here draws another land, packs it in. Dillingham takes game 1 in impressive fashion. Josh Milliken just not finding any of those interactive pieces, just tons and tons of threats and lands, and just dominated by the Shieldred and Graveyard Trespasser.
Yeah, and the Obnixilis, while it can be a really powerful source of card advantage, is really only good when you have Cat Oven going.
Right. All right. Well, as these players are reaching for their sideboards, I'd like to throw it over to my man Ross. Why don't you tell us about these players' sideboards and what you think they're going to be bringing in?
So Josh Milliken has 2 more copies of Thoughtseize, a second Go for the Throat, a Dreadbore, a Go Blank, 2 Kolaghan's Command, a Liliana of the Veil, 2 Karizev's Expertise, 4 Leyline of the Void, and a Liliana Waker of the Dead. Not exactly sure what his plan is going to be in this matchup, but I suspect it has something to do with these Lilianas. I think that's going to be the idea, is that I want to just answer your threats, generate card advantage with Liliana because I get to empty my hand faster than you, and then really rely on Kroxa in the late game. or rely on all this card advantage from Deadly Dispute and Village Rites and things like that. So I suspect extra planeswalkers coming in, probably some of this 2-mana removal because you want to answer Shieldred and the really powerful threats. And probably cutting some of the weaker removal in the deck to make room for those cards.
All right, well, on the other side of things, we got regular old Rakdos midrange from Dylan Ham. What kind of tools is he going to have for this matchup? Any graveyard stuff? Anything to answer the oven?
I see 3 Duress, 3 Extinction Event, 1 Hidetsugu Consumes All, 2 Kolaghan's Command, 2 Noxious Grasp, 2 Reckoner Bankbuster, and 2 Unlicensed Hearse. Definitely like the Hidetsugu Consumes All.
Yes.
I like the Kolaghan's Commands.
Same.
Answer those ovens, generate card advantage. I like the Bankbusters. Again, this is a long, grindy matchup. I'll take all the extra cards I can get. And I'm back and forth on the Hearses. It's good against Croxa. It's good against Cat. But if they have 2 ovens, it's bad. If they have 1, it's kind of good. Sometimes they have the extra food. On the balance, I would say yes, but it's close.
All right. As we are shuffling up here for game number 2, Dylan Ham is 1 win away from punching his ticket to DreamHack Atlanta by winning this RCQ. Both players have already qualified for the Apex Invitational later this year. That'll be in November. Make sure to join us for our $20,000 Invitational. Then we're going to have tons of side events, so even if you don't qualify, make sure to head on down with your buddies who did. If you want to try to qualify yourself, make sure to head over to apexgaming.gg for more information about the series and see if your local game store wants to join the AIQ program.
Okay. Well, I see Liliana in Josh Milliken's hand. I think 2 of them.
Yep.
But not enough lands for that hand to be functional.
Okie dokie. We're going to be tossing that back. Never want to be on the mulligan against Rakdos if you can help it, but obviously you want functional hands, and that's better than keeping a non-functional hand with more resources. Dylan Ham looks like he's going to keep the Rakdos deck. Doesn't have many weak points to exploit. Usually just keeps a lot of hands with a wide range of playables. As long as you have some amount of interaction and some number of threats and some lands, it's usually good enough.
Yeah, and especially with Liliana as part of his plan, if you mulligan, Liliana can really undo it by generating card advantage by +1ing when your opponent still has cards in their hand.
All right, taking a look at the 6 is Josh Milken. Sees a couple of Village Rites, a couple lands, a Dreadbore. Looks like he's going to keep.
I think this is 4 lands, 2 Village Rites, and a Dreadbore.
Yeah, not the greatest. Needs some food, but a lot of food to draw for the Village Rites. And we're going to lead off with Javi the Eye Tyrant. Back Dylan Ham's way, so if he has any turn 1 play, passes the turn. Witch's Oven is a draw. That's okay for various combos later, but needs something to sacrifice right now.
Yeah, would love an Unlucky Witness. Would love a Cauldron Familiar.
Love a Claim the Firstborn, too. Just another land. This Blood Tithe Harvester from Dylan Ham is potentially threatening.
Aggressive use of the Dreadbore there. Doesn't want to be under pressure on his life total.
I don't think that's that big of a deal. I feel like, if you don't kill it, it's just going to deal you 9 or 12 damage. So you might as well kill it now instead of letting everything kind of snowball.
And with a replacement there on his turn 3, another Oven for Milliken. So he's got all the sack outlets and nothing to sacrifice.
Yeah. Now,
Sounds
is
like
Milliken,
an Alanis Morissette song.
Milliken is not a Giganta deck, correct? Because there's Liliana of the Veils in the deck, so no outlet for all this extra land. One of the benefits, obviously, of Companions. Here is a big attack from the Harvester, and it looks like Shieldra is going to come down, maybe? No. I'm going to go with the Bankbuster. Gonna be drawing some cards with that thing.
Busty B.
Another land for Milliken. Not like this. Not like this.
Are we gonna fire up a hive? Are we gonna try to trade a hive?
Hey,
I might fire it up and Village Rites it.
well, I guess that's the plan. Maybe, honestly, Dylan should have waited until the attack. This was maybe a potential big punt. That traded for a Go for a Throat and allowed Milliken to draw 2 cards with the Village Rites. So huge turn of events for Josh.
2 good cards there too. Claim the Firstborn and Cauldron Familiar.
Oh, a big attack for 7. Shoulder going to come down, crew the Bankbuster, attack for 7, and then 2 more from the ability of Shieldred. Here comes a cat. This is going to help us stifle some of the bleeding.
Yeah.
We also have Claim the Firstborn. That's going to take this Blood Tithe Harvester, and we're going to attack for 3, and then sacrifice it to the oven and deal with part of this pressure. Yep.
Okay, and now we can block the Shieldred with the Cauldron Familiar as much as we want. We're taking 2 a turn from the shielded triggers, but we're gaining 1 back from the called in familiar loops, maybe 2 once we untap with the oven. So somewhat stable here for Milliken, but he has really nothing left, and his opponent Dylan Ham has that Reckoner Bankbuster, has way more, and also has the Castle Lockthwain to draw extra cards. So
Okay, well, here's Dylan Ham being really aggressive with his resources. Goes for a stomp on the cat with the oven face up. Milliken's going to bring the cat back to try to chump block, and it does. And honestly, this looked like a pretty weak sequence from Dylan with no real answer there.
All that really did was trade the entire Bone Crusher Giant for a food token.
Yeah. Here's Graveyard Trespasser post-combat, though. This is going to probably target something that's not the Cauldron Familiar because it can come back in response.
It's his own Blood Tithe Harvester there to make sure he gets the trigger. And if I'm Milliken here, I'm waiting to bring back this cat, because if you draw Mayhem Devil, it's a lot better.
This is also a bit awkward because the Trespasser failed to crew the Bankbuster, so a lot of potentially missed damage from Ham. Maybe he had a plan that kind of got blown up with something face up on the table. Unfortunate sequencing.
Yeah. You're not attacking with the cat here if you're Milliken, so you definitely don't bring it back. And if you draw a devil, you have 5 sacrifices.
That's a devil. Are we doing it? Is
Now,
Mayhem Devil the GOAT?
It's a risky line, because if Ham has another removal spell, you're going to lose the cat to the Trespasser, but you just can't. I don't think you can let the Shielded live, and Ham's on 1 card.
Well, the last one can be crack food token to gain 3 instead of bring back the cat, or instead of like I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we have enough to kill the Shield Red, which is significantly better than we were last round, which was chump blocking it forever.
So you have the food in play to bring back the cat, and then each oven cat loop is 2 sacrifices. 1 of the cat, 1 of the food to bring back the cat. So that's 5 total.
All right, and we get to drain Dylan Ham for a little bit of damage as well. So that's
you'll get 2 drains as well.
All right, so this is going to be 2, and a food comes back. Okay, and then this comes back. That's a 3. We get to drain as well.
16 and 9 live totals now. Ham ahead.
Sack this. Okay, and bring it back and kill that and drain you again. Up to 10, down to 15, and Shield Red packing it in, but still a lot of resources for Dylan Ham on the other side.
The next question is, does Dylan have a removal spell to answer this Cauldron Familiar? And he has a Stomp.
Yeah, Stomp plus Attack Eat is pretty solid. Can also cast the Bone Crusher Giant here and then crew the Bankbuster and attack for a large chunk. And I think that Josh Milliken might need to trade with Mayhem Devil on the Graveyard Trespasser.
I definitely think he has to.
Otherwise, you're just too low on life.
Jeez, you'd be taking 7? Yeah, this is just still bad. You needed Ham to not have the removal spell.
Alrighty, well, we're going to go back Josh Milliken's way, empty-handed, nothing in the Graveyard of Consequence. 2 Witches Oven, finds another Mayhem Devil, but just a land in hand, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Maybe it's enough to survive for 1 more round with a chump block and to gain some life off a food token. See if Dylan Ham can close it out.
Well, if there's no creature that can crew the Bankbuster here for Ham, it's not a lethal attack.
Shocking, that's not good. 3 mana, that's Kolgon's command. Shatter. Bring back Graveyard Trespasser. Resolves.
Yeah, play it. Put you to 4, and now I have 2
4-power attackers.
So we have to chump block, sack to oven, and gain 3, and then there's just nothing you.
Josh Milliken packs it in, and Dylan Ham is your champion in today's Pioneer $2,000 Open. Rakdos Midrange stock, best player in the room stock. And he takes it down against a unique take from Milliken's Rakdos Sacrifice. Made it look easy.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of really cool decks all day, but in the end, it is stock Rakdos Midrange from one of the best players in the room.
Yeah,
taking down the tournament, and that's how it goes a lot of the time.
Look, sometimes the unique decks are like Fires of Invention, doing way over the top stuff with Karuga, big mana, Lotus Field in your blue-eye control deck, right? Those are the types of weirdo oddballs that give Rakdos a lot of trouble, but creature decks that are fringe are usually just food for Rakdos. And there we just saw the Rakdos Sacrifice deck, obviously one of the stronger decks in the format right now, at least statistically, was defeated there handily by Rakdos Midrange.
Yeah, and the changes that Milliken made didn't really come up. Liliana would have been effective had he drawn it, though.
All right,
So-
well, we're going to get a little bit of an interview here. Ross, you want to take over for
do it.
this? All right, Mr. Ham, congratulations, sir. Why don't you come take my chair? Ross and I give you the prizes.
Awesome.
Yeah. We got one more of these to give, and it is yours.
Awesome.
So
Perfect.
there is your playmat, Dylan. Congratulations. You know, you're now qualified for the Apex Invitational in November, so that's great. We have you want me to hold this up, Todd?
Yeah, I want to show everyone. I want to show everyone the Expressive Iteration playmat. This is a big deal.
Yeah. It's awesome.
This is a great playmat. We're going to be giving out a bunch of these over the course of Season 3. Every single AIQ, not just the ones here at the Apex Gaming Home Store. We'll be giving one of these to the winner. So, Dylan, you have now received the second one after Gabe got his yesterday, winning the Modern 5K. You're both qualified. That's great. You're also now qualified for the Regional Championship, so congratulations
Perfect.
about that.
Thank you.
Now, we've seen you a lot here on the Apex series. You're one of the most notable players on the tour. This is the first time we've gotten a chance to talk to you. You know, this tournament, we saw a ton of unique decks, a lot of singleton decks that nobody else was playing, but in the end, it's you playing stock Rakdos midrange that takes it down. Is this the deck you've been on at Pioneer for a long time?
I actually only own the 5-color Transmogrify deck and was able to source this deck from my good friend Brian Baker, and he lent it to me, put the list together. I didn't send him anything, and I played it last or 2 weeks ago in an RCQ top 8'd and just felt good today. Played well for the most part, hopefully.
Yeah. No, you were perfectly fine there. Ran roughshod over Milliken there in the finals.
Yes.
On what is normally a tough matchup, Rakdos Sacrifice, though Milliken's list very different than...
Very unique without fables and things.
Yeah, so you know, you've got, you know, basically nothing left to do this season on the Apex series. You get to wait till the Invitational. Hang out and you know, continue just jamming Rakdos Sacrifice, and we'll see you in November.
Thank you.
All right, congrats, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.